Hi, in this video we are going to discuss factoring sum and difference of two cubes. So how do we factor out sum and difference of two cubes? Tandaan natin yung mga formula na ito. Una, for the sum of two cubes, we have a cube plus b cube is equal to a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And for the difference of two cubes, tandaan naman natin yung a cube minus b cube is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So, paano natin siya mas madaling matatandaan? Just remember the words cube roots, square multiply square, and so. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng mga yan? Cube roots, gagamitin natin siya for the first factor, which is a binomial. Kagaya dito, a plus b and a minus b, which are cube roots of a cube and b cube. Next, for the square multiply square, gagamitin natin siya for the second factor, which is a trinomial. And for the SOAP, ito yung tatandaan natin para maging tama yung paglalagay natin ng sign. S for same sign, O for opposite sign, and AP for always positive. Halimbawa, ang sinasagutan natin is sum of two cubes. So, ang nakalagay dito is plus. S for same sign. Yung unang sign natin is the same sa given. O for opposite sign. Yung pangalawang sign na gagamitin natin ay kabaliktaran ng given. And yung dulo is always positive. Again, kapag difference of two cubes naman, same sign, minus, opposite sign, plus, and the last part is always positive. Okay, before we proceed with our examples, i-recall natin yung perfect cubes, cube roots, and cubes. So we have here the list of perfect cubes from 1 to 1,000. Bakit sila tinawag ng mga perfect cubes? It's because kapag kinuha natin yung cube root nila, we will have an exact whole number. Example, 1 is a perfect cube. When we get the cube root of 1, that is equal to 1 because 1 cube, which is 1 times 1 times 1, is equal to 1. Another example, 8 is also a perfect cube. And when we get the cube root of 8, that is equal to 2. Because 2 cube is the same as 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. So, nakalista rito lahat ng perfect cube from 1 to 1,000. That is 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, and 1,000. Next, perfect cubes, cube roots, and cubes pagdating naman sa mga variables. So, x cubed, when we get the cube root of x cubed, that is equal to x. It's because when you cube x, or that is x times x times x, you're going to have x to the third power for x cubed. X to the sixth power is also considered as perfect cube kasi when we get the cube root of x to the sixth power, we will have x squared. Kasi x squared raised to the third power is the same as x squared times x squared times x squared, which will give us x to the sixth power. So, kung mapapansin natin, lahat ng nakalista rito as perfect cubes, and marami pa yan, yung exponents are all multiples of 3. Kaya siya naging perfect cube. Okay, now, let's try to answer some examples of factoring sum and difference of two cubes. Let's start with this one. Let's try to factor a cube plus 8, which is sum of two cubes. So, ano yung mga words na kailangan nating tandaan? First is to get the cube roots. Get the cube root of a cube and the cube root of 8. So, what is the cube root of a cube? The cube root of a cube is equal to a. And the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Kasi 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. Next, for the square multiply square, square the first term, o yung unang cube root na nakuha natin, which is a. Kaya naging a squared. Then, i-multiply natin yung dalawang cube root na yon, which is a times 2. That's why we're going to have 2a. And then, square naman natin yung pangalawang cube root, which is 2. And 2 squared is 2 times 2, which will give us 4. Now, iaayos natin siya. Again, yung cube roots na nakuha natin will be for the binomial, and yung square multiply square naman will be for the trinomials. Okay? So now, tandaan naman natin yung SOAP. So since we are factoring the sum of two cubes, the sign is plus. So the first sign that we are going to use will be the same sign, plus. The second sign will be opposite of that plus, which is a minus sign. And the last part will be always positive. So then now we have a cube plus 8 is equal to a plus 2 times a squared minus 2a plus 4. Next, let's try to factor out the difference of two cubes. We have here 27m cubed minus n cubed. Again, first step is to get the cube roots of the terms. So when we try to get the cube root of 27m cubed, the answer is 3m. And when we get the cube root of n cubed, the answer is n. Next, for the square multiply square, square our first cube root, which is 3m. 3m times 3m will give us 9m squared. Next is to multiply the two cube roots, which is 3m and n. So we will have 3mn. And for the third part, we have to square the cube root n. So we will have n squared. Again, i-arrange natin siya. Alright, so we will have this one, yung 3m at saka yung n for our binomial. And for the square multiply square, yung tatlong term na nakuha natin will be for the trinomial. Again, remember the term SOAP. Since we are factoring the difference of two cubes, so the sign is negative or minus. For the SOAP, we have to use the same sign for the binomial, the opposite sign, and then always positive doon sa dulong part ng trinomial. So the factor of 27m cubed minus n cubed is equal to 3m minus n times 9m squared plus 3mn plus n squared. Let's try to factor out m cubed plus 125. So una, kuhanin natin ng mga cube roots ng m cubed and 125, which are m and 5. Square natin yung first term, which is m. So we have m squared. Multiply natin yung dalawang term, m and 5. We will have 5m. And then square natin itong 5. We will have 25. And remember SOAP. So dahil ito ay sum of two cubes, so the first sign here is the same, which is plus. O for opposite sign, meron tayo ditong minus. And last part will be always positive. The factors of m cubed plus 125 is equal to m plus 5 times m squared minus 5m plus 25. Next example, let's try to factor out 216a cubed minus 27b cubed. So that is the difference of two cubes. Let's get the cube roots of the terms. So the cube root of these two terms are 6a and 3b. Square natin yung first term, which is 6a. We will have 36a squared. Multiply natin yung dalawang term, 6a times 3b. We will have 18ab. And square natin yung pangalawang term, which is 3b. We will have 9b squared. Since this is difference of two cubes, apply ulit natin yung term na SOAP. Same sign, opposite sign, and always positive. And next, let's factor 64x cubed minus 125y to the 6th power. Kuhain natin yung cube roots nila. We will have 4x and 5y squared. Square natin yung first term na 4x, we will have 16x squared. Multiply natin yung dalawang term, and we will have 20xy squared. Now, let's square the second cube root, which is 5y squared, so we will have 25y to the 4th power. Applying the term SOAP, since this is difference of two cubes, minus ang nakalagay, so we will have the same sign, opposite sign, and always positive. And that's it for now. Thank you.